So I had an interesting thought, which has been around for a few years. Um, it's probably about a week or so ago, and it came from watching. While I was at work watching a big time streamer, and the effects that streamers are having on gaming. So we're going to talk about that. Um, Actually, let me switch to this, and we'll put on this in the background just to have some gameplay for you as we're talking. This is my gameplay, so I won't get pinched or nicked for it from any other content creator. Um, I was at work and I will have YouTube on in the background from time to time, and I'll put some streamers on. Mostly it's whoever's on YouTube, and most of the time it's Tim the Tatman, and he was playing with Nick Mercs and Cloaksy. And a couple weeks ago, Cloaksy had said something about this on his stream, where people in his stream had asked him, "How would you improve Call of Duty?" which was the main game that these guys play. And his response was, "Don't listen to streamers because they just F things up." And I found that refreshing and at the same time kind of funny, considering 5 years ago, and even hell, maybe even 2 years ago, the argument wouldn't have been that the streamers were the problem. In fact, they all would have been saying, no, it's not the issue at all. So you had Cloaksy do that, and like I said, about a week or week and a half ago, when I was listening to Tim's stream, him and Nick Merckx brought up the fact that streamers were actually killing gaming, and he honestly believed that they were the cause of the downfall of gaming. And Tim agreed with him. Tim said, "Yeah, he definitely agrees," and they kind of talked a little bit about where they felt games in this just in today's world and nowadays are. Um, so I decided, I thought about on it a little bit, and the main thing that I see that is killing gaming. There's going to be a few topics that I thought of, but the first one I thought directly of is money. The minute, and this happens with everything, the minute people realize that you can make money from a product, or you can make money just basically from anything, people will take advantage of it. And the minute that people realize that you can make, in some cases, hundreds of thousands, and even in a few streamers' lives, millions of dollars on it, people jump in and jump on that and try to take advantage of the situation. Nothing wrong with that. That's just capitalism. That's America. That's just how that goes. The problem in that is, though, you go from a market maybe from 10, 15 years ago where there was a smaller amount of a streamer base where you didn't have where you can turn on now, and everybody and their mother and grandmother and grandfathers now have a channel. And granted, most of them know that they're not going to make money off of this, and they're having fun with their friends. They might do it for a while. I think they said like the majority of streamers quit within like the first 6 months of streaming because they just see no growth, or just regular life, gets in their way. And that's just how it operates. It's just how it is. Only the lucky few actually get to make it a career and actually make some decent money to where they might not ever have to work again. But for the most part, money is one of the reasons the gaming industry has gone to crap, because of streamers and the amount of money that streamers now make. That correlates with the control that streamers have. Um, be perfectly honest with you, streamers have the majority of them have control issues. They might not agree with that, but it is true. They want to control every aspect of what they are doing, what they're involved with, how things operate, and how things go. That's why you see some of them that just vent and have the worst attitudes on stream because they want to control everything. They want to control the game. They want to control what their character does. They want to control how the people in their chat act, how the people out of their chat act. They want to control the narrative of what they're doing, even if they say they don't. They do. They still do. Um, so with that control under, you're gonna have some subcategories that go with that. The first one would be um, complaining that the game doesn't work, it doesn't run well for him. It's interesting because you will see larger streamers do that. That when a game such as like we'll say Call of Duty, since that's one of the more popular games at at the time and still now, streamers love it when it's easier for them, but the minute it's made to fit, you know, everyday players or just people, who are buying the game, um, to fit to where how they can play or how they can handle or how they can do, enjoy the game, it becomes a problem if it doesn't fit their needs. And then they, with the power and control that they have being on stream and the influence that they have, will complain about it until, that aspect of the game is either removed or completely just nerfed, completely to the point that people won't use it. Um, you see that a lot with like one-shot headshot sniping in Call of Duty. You had a lot of streamers bitching and complaining about how they needed to bring those back, and the minute that they did, and it leveled the playing field with everyday players that just get on, for a few hours a week, when they started mowing down these streamers with one-shot headshots, you then started seeing them come out and complain that there's too many, or that it's too easy for people for the one-shot headshot. They needed to remove it from the game. That's part of the control and a part of the complaining when the game doesn't work for them. Um, there's been other examples I'm sure you can think of and come across many of them where if it doesn't fit their game style and it doesn't make the game easier for them, they complain until the devs or the game takes it out, so that it fits their narrative and fits their need. Um, one of the other, and this goes into the influence and control of streamers that they have with the games, is just bad ideas. Like you'll have streamers that'll just come up with just bad or horrible ideas as far as how they think a game should run or how it should be. And in the end, it ends up being just a horrible, horrible idea. It ends up being just so bad. But these games give in to them because they're being influenced or they're being controlled by what these streamers are doing, with the amount of eyes that they get on these games, that they will listen to them and put this stuff in the game, even when it makes no sense, if it's bad, if it's actually going to hurt the game, but they're going to put it in the game. Um, the the other subcategories, abuse of power, that kind of goes with just coming up with bad ideas or coming up complaining about things that were put in the game to benefit others, and then it doesn't fit their game, so they use their power by saying, "Well, I'm not playing it right now because that game's not good," or they just, go on social media and complain about it until it's quit or until it's fixed. One aspect of it, and this was one of the things that Nick Merckx and Tim, because they all said that same thing, and even Cloaksy, we're talking about some of the same stuff I did, but one of them was how gaming has just become clip farming now. Before everything became this battle royale, online battle royale, and what makes me laugh is that everybody says that every game has to have a battle royale. I'm telling you right now, every game does not need to have a battle royale, and you need to get that brainwash out of your mind. A game is not successful because it has a battle royale. It doesn't need to be successful because it doesn't or does have a battle royale. A game needs to be successful because you have fun with it. There's not a lot of glitches and a lot of issues to it, and there's a progression that happens with the game that is good for all, not just the gamers, but also the people who designed it. every game does not need a battle royale. We have to de-brainwash ourselves on that. Not every game needs a battle royale. Say that 10 times to yourself. Not every game needs a battle royale. Multiplayer is just fine. And this is the problem. The attention span with people these days is short because in the past, especially the past 5 years, all the clips that show up online on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever, are of high score, high kill games. Nobody even really cares about winning the game anymore. It's about trying to, drop 20 bombs, 30 bombs, or get world records, which you're not really seeing in the last year or so from these games. You don't see it anymore. And a lot of that has to do with the change of certain things in the game that aren't allowed anymore. You're not seeing streamers continuously drop 20 and 30 bombs like they used to do 4 years ago. But the problem is and I get it, it's a content game. That's what you push to get your content out there, to get eyes on your product, and to make money. Nothing wrong with that. I completely understand it. But the problem is now you then have uh, regular people, kids, teenagers, and other individuals, and this is where it goes back to money, where they see people dropping 20 bombs, 30 bombs, putting these clips up, or these outrageous shots, and they decide that's what I need to do to be successful, and they just go for clips. They don't go for the actual gameplay. And a lot of times to get clips, you'll have people that'll do disingenuous things. They cheat, where whether it be wall hacks, whether it be aim hacks, whether it be whatever, they will cheat because that's where it all goes back to the money. They see it as quick money, fast money. There was an interesting thing that now this was just I guess I can't really quote him on this, but it was brought up when I did a Google search on it. It was something that Nick Merckx has said about the influence of streamers on gaming. And one of the things he says, he feels that the abundance of quick clip content focuses on glitches, loadouts, and plays has led to players losing interest in learning and exploring games. This has resulted in a decline in player engagement and a shift away from the core aspects of gaming, such as strategic depth and skill development. I mean, I agree with him on some level on that. Um, the glitch thing, I mean, that's just those are just funny clips. I mean, that really, depending on the glitch, it's not a game killer. That's just funny thing. I mean, when I was growing up, games, it's I love how people complain now about glitches in games, and streamers do this often. They complain and complain and complain. They are fixed so much faster now than they were 10, 15, hell, 20, 30 years ago. When we used to get a game, that was the thing that you would go and find, either on the Segas, on the PlayStations, on the Xboxes, whatever. When you would go and try to find a glitch in the game. You'd go and try to find an area where the developers, the engineers of the game screwed up, where there just was a complete mess up on it because it was funny, because you knew and you realized it was not going to be fixed. It was just part of the game. So it makes me laugh when you see, especially streamers, completely bitch and moan about glitches in games and how it's going to ruin the game. And within like most of the time, within that month, they're fixed. It's not like it's going to be in the game forever like it used to be. So that aspect, make your little funny videos about it. Don't complain about it. Move on. The loadout aspect, I don't really. I mean, multiplayer, when you play multiplayer, you basically have your loadout when you play those games. So I don't, I think that maybe falls under the skill development, where if you have to actually use, ground guns that are in most games, you have to actually use your skill with the controller or with the mouse and keyboard, whatever, to get your aim, to get that aspect of it up instead of relying on your own loadouts to be overpowered in those situations. I think that's kind of that's half and half. I wouldn't say that's a thing, but the plays aspect, yeah, they're focused on making on the plays, and in doing so, if you see like a swag or a Zlander or whoever just making outrageous plays in getting high kills. And say what you will about those two as far as the rumors and stuff around them. Um, Most people aren't going to be able to do or replicate that kind of stuff. And so the only way they know how to do that is by cheating. And I think that also goes into it too. Streamers are killing the game, but also cheaters are. And the problem is you have games that do nothing about cheating. Call of Duty is one of the most lackadaisical um, games about doing anything about cheating. That game would probably be 100 times more playable and fun without the cheaters because it's become to the point now where you don't believe any player that kills you. It's just always in the back of your mind, like if anything looks off, it could be just strong aim assist, it could be just a lucky shot, but there's still that seed that was planted in the back of your head in the last 4 years, because 5 years, because they've done nothing about it, where you don't believe anything that you see on there. And that also, translate over to people thinking gamers or streamers cheat all the time because you can't believe what you're seeing. Um, so the aspect of just the streamers, what I said earlier in cheating has really killed gaming a lot. He goes into a little more. It's criticized the dominance of short attention grabbing content. Yes, of course. Um, those video games are often superficial and fail to teach players anything meaningful about the game. Well, but first person shooters aren't there to teach you anything meaningful. They're there. It's just what it is. What it is. I mean, look, I am old enough to be around before gaming was online, and the first game I ever played online was Halo 3. Um, I had never thought about it before then, and then my brother and my dad got me an Xbox 360 one Christmas, and like that January, I decided to play Halo Online, and the multiplayer was fun, and it was one of those things where you had to learn how to play in that game. I remember like I just wanted to run around with that regular AR, and you'd always start with that AR and the battle rifle, and I'd always want to use the AR because it would just spray. And I was a decent player, nothing too crazy. And it wasn't until I was playing with this one guy, he's like, "Hey, dude, you need to play with the battle rifle, the little three-shot burst thing." And I didn't like it because I wasn't used to a gun doing, a three-shot burst and kill situation. But he was right. When I switched over and started doing that, my kill to death ratio, you know, separated. My kills were higher than my deaths. I was maybe only dying, 7, 8, maybe 10 times a game, and it was multiplayer matches from that point on. And I was averaging like 25 kills a game. I was doing really well. And you also would learn the maps and how to um, the rotations of the maps. You would learn how the environment of how your player moved, how he didn't move, affected everything. And it was learning the skills of the game that got you and made you better. What not to do, what to do. And it's the same thing with Call of Duty. I remember when Call of Duty, when we first were playing multiplayer with there, you couldn't slide, you couldn't really dive, it was just running around shooting. It was just a straight up probably the best it would be and the easiest it was at ever at that point. And the thing is now it's not about skill. I mean, no matter what all these kids and what these streamers say, it's not about skill where you're just flopping around, shooting randomly, hitting stuff, or manipulating, using cheats or whatever to get kills. So that aspect of the clip farming is and also what he was saying, not appreciating the skills. Yeah, I mean, if it goes into kids, like I said, sitting there watching these guys getting 30 kills a game, and then they don't understand why they can't do it, and they give up on the game after a while. They don't want to do it. Um, you're seeing a little bit of a change with some of these developers. They're going away listening to streamers. It's not like it was even a year ago. The other thing is, and this is what I'll say about gaming, is at the height of the gaming and streaming from like the height of it, you'd say from 2018 to 2021, 2022 maybe, The reason it was so vastly popular at the time was one, because it was new, and then also because of COVID. COVID allowed people just to sit at home and just watch all day, and just to sit at home and then play and try to stream snipe and do all this stuff like that. The problem is, I shouldn't say the problem. The best thing now is life returned to some sort of normalcy. Life became normal, and people went back outside. People realized like they didn't have to sit in front of a screen for 8 9 hours a day. They're back enjoying life, and in translation, that kills gaming, because I mean, people want to live the way they used to. It's When I was growing up, I played video games, but I didn't play it 8 9 12 hours a day. I was outside the majority of the time. And of course, this was the 90s, and we were outside all the time from daylight until the sun went down, and even sometimes after the sun went down. And the only times we would play video games were if we were doing a spend the night at somebody's house, if it was raining outside and we couldn't go outside, or yeah, just the weather, if it was cold or rain, or if it was too hot. Like during the summers, we would have like Super Mario Kart contests with each other. But besides that, we were outside all the time. And one of the reasons gaming is dying is life has just gone back to being normal. People aren't locked in their house anymore. They're going outside. They don't want to spend $80 on a video game anymore, when they can now spend it on going down to the river, going to the beach, going to the mall, doing whatever, hanging out with the girlfriend, hanging out with their boyfriend, whatever it is. So I think it's a combination of, yeah, streamers are killing gaming, just with the amount of control and the amount of um I shouldn't say hands on, but the amount of influence that they have, control and influence that they have on the gaming community and the games in general. But then also, people are just getting back to their lives. Um, for gaming to survive, one, they need to act quicker when there are glitches. They need to definitely handle cheaters better than what they're doing now. I mean, they're just not doing a great job with it at all. And the other thing is, don't listen to these streamers. And who cares if they're not playing your game anymore? I get it's a business, and it's about sales, and it's about having, um, some sort of cultural, zeitgeist on it. Um, but if you really want your game to survive, if you really want a game to survive, one, you need to focus on the actual game and the gameplay. Um, a lot of these, especially like Call of Duty, get away from it because they're more looking for the quick buck, the quick fix, and that goes into like with skins, that they're more focused on making money off skins. And I mean, it's $1 million industry. It is what it is. They're gonna make money off of selling skins and doing that situation. And hey, if the game sucks, if the game's not good, and they're only worried about skins, then it deserves to die. It deserves to not be there. And I would tell you, stop playing the game for that reason. If the game is getting to be more for streamers, if you're noticing that they're doing things that are only best for streamers, stop playing the game. Find a game that you like. I mean, I went through a time there with Verdansk the first time, where Call of Duty just wasn't fun. It was being overrun by cheaters, which it still is. It was obvious that it was leaning more towards what streamers wanted and complained about. And it just, me and my friends weren't having fun on it. And honest to God, like I went over and started playing like Minecraft just for the vibes. Because it was laid back and it was chill, man. And it didn't stress me out. And then, games were supposed to be fun. Well, and I would go back to just playing multiplayer, which, I mean, Battle Royale has basically killed multiplayer, because now people, even in multiplayer, are just going for clips, or they're just in the game to um, upgrade their weapons so that they can then take them to the Battle Royale concept, and that has killed gaming as well, because again, it used to be when multiplayer, there was a skill. There was learning the maps. There was learning how um, players could play this level, how they handled that level, um, how you handle your weapon in this situation, learning the do's and don'ts with a weapon or with the map. And Battle Royale is just there's really no skill. It's just random craziness, and um, most of it is luck. I mean, I will say that there's a lot of cheating. I won't deny that there's a lot of cheating. Um, but skill in Battle Royale, there's just no skill there. It's just all gone. But hey, give me your thoughts on that. Explain if I missed something or left something out as far as what is if streamers are killing gaming, or if they what else could be killing gaming. What I missed, what I didn't talk about. Let's hear some of your insights and some of your opinions on that. Um, but overall, man, it's um it's an interesting time in the gaming world. It's an interesting time. Um, and yeah, but hey, man, everybody find that good earth and dig it and get outside more. All right, later.